I think that I actually have reached enlightenment, and I don't know if it's permanent. And I'm hesitant to say like I'm healed because I know that healing never ends, and every time I think I'm healed, the universe will humble me. But I'm really at a place in my life where I no longer desire things, and I'm just so happy in the present moment. And even when I experience pain, I don't experience suffering. I think that I got here through really surrendering to God, surrendering to the universe, trusting that everything's gonna work out, having faith, and accepting every single thing about my life. Accepting the universe's plan, accepting other people and how they are, not trying to change them, not trying to help them, not trying to fix them, and understanding that they are exactly where they're meant to be, and that we're supposed to learn certain lessons, we're supposed to have certain flaws, we're supposed to have certain struggles and suffer in certain ways. And all the ways that I had to suffer in the past were necessary to get me to where I am now. And we don't really understand like the ripple effect that we have, and the butterfly effect of like every single decision you make. And sometimes someone who is broken is the catalyst for your healing. And so sometimes people are supposed to be struggling and supposed to be dealing with difficult things, and it's not your responsibility to help everyone. You should just trust whatever the universe is doing. And I do think a huge part of being human and the point of being here is helping people, and that's really been the source of my joy now. But there's a difference between helping people out of that being what you truly desire to do and what you feel drawn to do, what excites you, versus helping people because you're trying to control reality, you're trying to fix things, you're trying to prove that you're worthy, you're trying to make yourself worthy and valuable. I only help people when I truly desire to, and when that's what I feel drawn to do, and that's what brings me joy in that moment. Whereas I used to also help people because I felt like I wasn't worthy if I didn't do what other people wanted me to do, or because it really hurt me to see other people suffering and I really experienced their pain alongside them. And I don't feel that way now because I can see it from this higher perspective that it's all meant to be, it's all happening as it's meant to be. And I know when you look at the extremes of some of the suffering that people are going through, it's hard to see it that way. But I just know that I'm just a human with an ego, and I can't really understand the bigger picture. And we're all living many lifetimes. And the people who go through the deepest pain really help other people heal and help heal society as a whole through some of that suffering. When you abandon yourself to help someone else, you're playing God. You're saying God doesn't know what to do, I do, my ego does. And your ego does not know what's best for anyone. Your soul knows what's best for anyone. So really follow your soul. And you can do this by following what brings you joy in each moment. I don't do things out of curiosity anymore, and I don't do things out of desiring a certain outcome. I don't do things as a means to an end. And I don't do things out of fear or because I feel like I have to, because I'm trying to avoid some perceived threat. Everything I do is just whatever feels good in each moment. And you might be like, oh, well, then I'll never go to the gym, or I'll never eat, or I'll never go to work, or I'll never clean my house. But when you're really connected to your intuition, you will still desire to do all of these things at a certain point. I don't know if I desire to go to work, but it doesn't feel like I don't desire it. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm rejecting it. And when there are days where my body is rejecting it, I try to not work that day or take that day off. I realize that we all have the exact same wound. We're all seeking external validation. We all have this wound inside of us that just like wants to be loved and accepted and validated because we think that's what we need in order to survive, and we still have the brains of our ancestors. There's an evolutionary lag. And I just realized that people who experience lust, people who experience greed, who desire to be successful, who desire to be in love, who desire money or fame, all of this comes from a place of craving external validation. And that's because external validation will temporarily heal this wound. And same with drugs and alcohol, it will temporarily heal this wound. But the way to permanently heal this wound is to love yourself and accept all parts of yourself, and to really connect to yourself and get to know yourself and connect to the universe, because you are the universe. It's all the same thing. Connect to nature. And when you really tap into this love of the universe and love for yourself, you no longer desire external things because you don't need them to fill that void. For the past couple of weeks, as I was like going through all these different lessons and shedding all these old beliefs, I would get in these thought spirals where I would be like, well, if I don't have desire, then how will I ever be happy again? Like, if I don't want certain things in life, then like, what's the point of being human? How will I ever be happy? And I would kind of have like existential crises. And I realized that happiness does not need a source. Happiness does not have to come from external things. Happiness actually comes from within you, from chemicals that you generate in your brain. And it just comes from being in alignment with your higher self and like being in touch with the universe and really connecting to yourself and what you desire. And by desire, I mean what you desire in each moment, what makes you feel good in each moment, and just living moment to moment in the present, doing whatever makes you feel good, instead of desiring certain things because you want to feel validated, you want to feel good enough, you want to prove yourself to people. But it's like, you don't have to try to let go of your desires and try to let go of material things. When those thoughts come up about desiring a certain person or desiring a certain amount of money or desiring a certain career, just accept those parts of you and understand where they come from. They come from this place of wanting to survive, and just accept those parts of you, but you don't have to act on them. And as you continuously do this and you continuously show love to these parts of you and accept these parts of you and don't try to fix or change them, they just start to dissipate. They just start to come up way less. And so I really just try to be present in each moment, live moment to moment, doing whatever makes me feel good. But sometimes that means not being present or not feeling good or having these beliefs that you don't want to be having, and just accepting where you're at, accepting that that's exactly where you're meant to be. It's kind of like confusing and weird, and it's been like confusing me all week, but now I'm at a place where I've learned and like integrated all of the lessons and I can understand how it works now. So hopefully this video makes sense, because you probably will have thoughts pop up of like, okay, how do I fix the situation? How do I fix myself? How do I get what I desire? How do I stop desiring? But it's like, literally whatever's happening, it's meant to be happening, and just accept where you're at and just have love for it. You don't have to try to fix your brain. You don't have to try to change your brain or rewire your brain. I think at a certain time in my life, that's what I needed to do. And so that's what I was drawn to do, and that's the perspective I was given. And so whatever perspective other people have or whatever they're doing, it's not your responsibility to change it, because they're exactly where they're meant to be as well. And it's not your responsibility to change what you're thinking either. But obviously you do have so much control over your mindset and your perspective, and you can do what makes you feel good. But if you have certain thoughts come up, you don't have to resist them and like try to get rid of them and try to fix things. And I think I needed to believe in manifestation to get where I am now. And I needed to desire success and money and subscribers and all of these things to get to where I am now, and that's the mindset that I was supposed to have at the time. So I think there's nothing wrong with wanting these things. There's nothing wrong with promoting these things. We're all at different stages and they're all beautiful. And when I first had this tower moment, I was like, I'm gonna get a reward. Like, I'm going to have amazing friends come into my life now, or I'm going to finally have success now. And this experience is bringing in everything that I want. And then I realized that there is no reward, and that the reward is me. And that the lesson this time was that I don't need to replace it with something else. I don't need to replace this love and this source of joy in my life that I just lost with something else. I'm replacing it with myself. And that's honestly the greatest gift, when you're able to really love yourself and love your life and not need anything else outside of that. I really have so much empathy and understanding for everyone now, because we really have the same wound. We all are seeking external validation through all these different things. And pretty much everything humans do comes from this place of wanting external validation, wanting to be accepted and loved. And it just shows up in different ways, whether that's addiction, whether that's chasing success, being a workaholic, whether that's always being in relationships, wanting love really badly, wanting fame. There's all these different ways it can show up, but we're all exactly the same. We all have the same wounds. We all have the same ego. And I have so much empathy and love for everyone, but I no longer take on their pain. I no longer feel pain when I observe these things. And it's honestly a weird experience and kind of like new to me, because for so long when something bad would happen to someone else, I would like literally feel the pain and be able to understand it on that level. But now I'm more detached from it. I can just understand it from like a logical perspective. And even my own pain, it just isn't the same. Like, it feels blunted. I've been having some experiences lately where normally these experiences would cause me a lot of pain, and they just don't anymore. It's like I can just take the lessons from it. I can like cry a little, but it just doesn't hurt that bad. Like, it feels so mild. And I think that's because I worked through all of these old wounds and I finally released these old emotions. And I had all this grief and shame trapped inside of me that was creating my reality. And that's why we end up in these cycles, because you need to release your grief, you need to release your shame. So if you keep losing things or you keep having these feelings of shame come up, it's so that you can heal it. It's so that you can finally feel it and release it. And if these emotions are just stuck in your body, then you relive the same scenarios over and over to try to make you aware of what you need to heal. But I feel like I finally released these emotions, and now I have this like clean slate. My karma is cleared, my past life stuff is cleared. There's a history of so much anxiety, codependency, addiction, mental disorders in my family, and I feel like, and health issues, and I feel like I've healed like all of that. Obviously healing isn't linear, it never really ends. If I was never going to struggle again or feel pain again, I wouldn't be human. I'd probably die. But I feel like I'm at a place now where I'm really able to enjoy life and really be present and see things from this higher perspective while still having a human experience and having an ego and going after desires, but also not needing them to be happy. And I just realized now that all of my desires were coming from this place of wanting external validation and wanting something outside of myself to make me feel better, when really happiness comes from within, and it comes from loving yourself and connecting to the universe, connecting to yourself. It's all the same thing. And even my dream of like moving to Spain or wanting to make new friends and like have a soul tribe or wanting to be successful on YouTube, all of those things were me seeking something outside of myself, seeking this feeling that I've found now, this feeling that I already have now and that I've found just within myself. And when you meditate and you visualize these things and you imagine that future and you feel that feeling, you are generating that feeling without needing anything external to change. And essentially I'm getting addicted to that feeling, and I'm learning to generate that feeling every single day so often, instead of getting addicted to these external things and seeking that feeling from these external things. So I think this is enlightenment. I don't really desire things anymore. Sometimes my ego comes out, but it's very subtle. I feel happy so much of the time. I feel incredibly happy. I don't need anything else. I don't want anything else outside of myself anymore. And I don't want to be anywhere else except for exactly where I am right now. And even when bad things happen, I just don't have this stress response anymore. Like, I don't have the physical anxiety or fear. I don't have strong amounts of pain. It's really just these subtle feelings that I allow myself to like tune into and learn the lesson from, but they're just like not bad at all. Like, I don't know, it's really weird. But yeah, there's good in every moment, and you'll never get to relive this moment. So I'm really just soaking it up, enjoying being a normal person, working a normal job, and appreciating all of the things about that are really amazing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.